Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Serge, and welcome to another episode of Search for the Truth. And my goal with this is to educate people, empower people to help them healing the body naturally. And today I have Tim as my guest. Welcome back, Tim.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for having me on your show again. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is the third time, and the first two times was pretty exciting topics. And today it's even more exciting to me. So again, can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do and why you're so passionate about, as we can see in the background, helping people with their health?
Well, yeah, man. Well, for those that are new that didn't hear my story the first time, I grew up on a farm in Eastern Oregon. I was living on the standard American diet, played baseball at a high level, was considered myself an athlete. I like being out in nature and that kind of stuff. And fast forward at age 37, I had gained 42 pounds. I was bleeding rectally. I had acid reflux, eating Tums and Rolaids 24/7, and had to have a surgery to get an organ removed on a vacation, which ruined my vacation for my wife and her dad. And I learned from that experience that my poor health doesn't affect just me; it affects everybody else around me. So it wasn't until my buddy got cancer, Charles, he got chronic lymphocytic leukemia. We went to the Hippocrates Health Institute in an attempt to save his life. It's a natural like detox and nutrition clinic in West Palm Beach, Florida. It was actually started by a gal named Ann Wigmore that healed herself of stage 4 colon cancer with literally lawn grass juice and herbs. Her grandmother was the village healer, a village doctor back in Lithuania, her surrogate grandma. So she learned
Wow.
the natural ways of healing. And, whether it's long grass or wheatgrass or barley grass or ryegrass, grass is grass, and it makes chlorophyll, and it has lots of phytochemicals or phytonutrients in it, and a lot of healing properties, and it produces oxygen as a byproduct, which is, cancer cannot live it's anaerobic. It cannot live in an oxygen environment. So at the Hippocrates Health Institute, we learned to clean ourselves up, clean up our digestive tract, clean up our organs internally, how to do that with different therapies and foods and supplementation, and clean up our cells on a cellular level of the chemical toxins and our blood, fat, and muscle tissue, flood the body with real nutrition because it's missing in the soil today, flood the
Yep.
body with good bacteria, get outside and flood your body with sunshine, all these natural things, and be barefoot and be in contact with the earth, or do grounding and earthing in your home, whether you're sleeping on a mattress that's a grounding pad, or like right now I'm grounding on my elbow right now. So we learned these things, and guess what? Well, turned my health. My buddy he healed the cancer. No chemo, no surgery, radiation, right in front of my face, and I healed myself. So I lost the weight. I got rid of the eczema, my gut issues. No more Tums and Rolaids. I lost 42 pounds literally in 60 days. It was crazy, but I went full tilt. I went all in. So now what I do is, I'm as a health coach and the founder of chemicalfreebody.com. What we do is we coach people through this process. We give them the awareness first, so they can, know what the heck they're doing. And then number two, well, then we show them the tools that we've used and thousands of other people have used to simply implement this into your lifestyle. Because the end of you have to change yourself. You have
Yep.
to do this yourself. Nobody can do it for you. But what's cool about it is when you learn these basic, simple principles and foundational strategies, then you get your health back. You get your energy back. You just get the mental clarity. You lose the weight. All these things that everybody's looking for, and it's actually really just a lot of common sense. But you get the satisfaction of knowing that you did it yourself. So that's the reason I get up every morning. This isn't work to me. This is very exciting to be talking to you because I know there's somebody on the other end that's listening. And my goal today is that people get one nugget that they're inspired enough with that makes sense to them. They're like, wow, that just makes a lot of sense. I like what this guy said. I'm going to try it and get first person experience and get the results for yourself. Now, I also believe that one size fits all medicine is a bad approach. It is the right medicine for the right person at the right time. Personalized precision medicine. And what I mean by that is, if we look at Hippocrates, he said food is medicine,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So herbs and food and sunshine and being happy and getting outside and being with people you love and grounding and earthing and clean water and clean air and fresh foods. These are all the medicines. This is the environment that we need to teach people to get back to. We've just gotten disconnected because of society and big corporations in the middle of us. So we're all about people taking self-responsibility for their health, becoming their own doctor, learning how to
Yep.
self-heal, and that's what we support.
Well, you're touching on a lot of points here, but let's go back to basic and talk about what I would like to talk with you today is the body as a system, right? So you touch, open the conventional medicine, right? They don't look at the body as a system. They look at organs individually, right? I mean, think about it. You go see a specialist for the heart, a specialist for the thyroid, a specialist for the brain, a specialist for the kidneys. You don't look at the body as a whole. So, what do you mean when you say the body is a system?
Well, it's pretty awesome. Everything in the universe is a system, and I'll break this down. So after the genome project basically had failed, I think it was in 2003. And this is where it was all about, hey, human beings must have like a million genes, right?
Yeah,
It was all about genes, genes, genes. And they did all this stuff and testing and stuff. And then what they found out is we have about the same genes as an earthworm, right? First, it was like, oh, we got a million. Then it's like, okay, well, maybe we have half a million, 500,000, then
yeah,
200, then 100,000. Well, we have about 20,000 genes, same as an earthworm. So after that, out of MIT, what was created was a new field called biological engineering. So they actually took a systems approach
yeah,
to the human body, basically, to the biological human body. And they looked at the whole body as a system, just like an engineer does. And then I had never like I know about engineers. When I was a financial advisor, they were the ones that like they want give them 30, 40 pages of data and they love it. Like they just, I'm like, these people are crazy. I just want to get to the end. Just tell me give me the little you know, dummies guide or whatever. Give me the little cheat
yeah,
sheet. I just want to get to it. But engineers, man, they really want to know everything. And what's really cool about if you looking at the body as a system from engineering standpoint is that you can't make mistakes, right? So if an engineer builds a bridge, they cannot make a mistake or people die. If an
yeah,
engineer builds a airplane and they make a mistake, people die. So engineers test and test and test and test and test until everything's perfectly tested. Now here's a perfect example of this. Um, this is a true American hero. His name's Norm Macdonald. He was an engineer on the project when they were launching the Space Shuttle Challenger. That most everybody that listening to this that remembers this, that
yeah,
spaceship exploded and died and killed all those astronauts. Now,
yeah,
why did that happen? Well, Norm Macdonald said the right thing at the right time. That's why he's a hero. He's not a grifter. And it's saying things that when it's convenient for him or or when he can make money or whatever, when it's in fashion or in vogue. He said the right thing at the right time. There was two engineers. He was one of the top engineers on that project. And he said, I can't sign off on this launch because there's this little O-ring in there, and we have not tested it on these cold temperatures. And that they were launching on a very, very cold day in the winter. And he said, I'm not going to sign off on it. Well, the other engineers signed off on it because they didn't want to lose their paychecks because there was a lot of pressure from above to get this thing launched. I don't know what the
yeah,
op was at the time or whatever. But anyway, he wouldn't sign off on it. They launch it. The O ring fails because of the cold. It wasn't tested, and those people died. Okay. Now, so MIT is now doing biological engineering. It's a systems approach to the human body. And from that, you start looking at the body as a system. Like the foot bone is connected to the leg bone, just
yeah,
like your oral microbiome is connected to your gut microbiome. Your oral microbiome is connected to your neural system. Your oral microbiome is connected to your cardiovascular system. It's all connected. And if you're looking at the immune system, unfortunately, current medicine has our immune system in it's like an old two box model. It's 100 to 60 years old at best view of the immune system. Our
yeah,
medical system is still based on that old of a model today.
yeah.
We've learned so much since then. So much since then. So it's based on the innate and adaptive immune system. And that's true. Those are great, but they're missing out on the interferon system, the neural system, and the gut microbiome system. And all of
Yeah.
these systems are actually communicating and chatting and talking with each other. So they're all connected. So when I say your body as a system, that's what I'm talking about. It is a complete system. It's all interconnected. And if you mess around with one part, you're going to disrupt other parts. That's just how it works.
Really good explanation here. And it reminds me of a person that I met last night, a guy. And he was telling me that he had some thyroid issues. He's been on medication for 20 plus years, but everything else in the body is fine. When I got to talk to him a little bit deeper, he has blood pressure issues, he has some joint problems, and so on. So he doesn't see the connection that, yes, having hypothyroidism can lead to other health issues because it does impact other organs in the body.
Well, let's expand on this further to really bring this home because I want to get like the 30,000-foot view for folks.
Yeah,
Now, here's the deal, okay? Once you get this concept, okay, my body's a system, right? And from the for the engineers out there, and then this might be over some people's heads like it was for me. I had to go to this class like 13 times to get it. But when you look at a system, there's two types of systems. And there's what's called an open or dumb system, and that consists of input, output, and then in the middle you have what's called transport, conversion, and storage. Okay.
yeah,
So for an example would be like a thermometer. Right? Well, actually, no, that's an intelligent system. So a dumb system would be like you sitting on the television in front of the television set and they flash an ad in front of you, go eat Taco Bell, right? And you're just like, I'm gonna go eat Taco Bell. Like there's no, you just input and it's just output. You just go eat Taco Bell. That's a dumb system. Now,
yeah,
an intelligent system actually has extra components. It has a sensor and it has a controller and it also has a goal, right? And then why do you have a sensor, a controller, and a goal? Well, the goal is, let's say, like an intelligent system would be a thermostat and you want it to be 78 degrees in that. Well, let's say 75. 78 might be a little bit hot unless you're older. So let's say you want 75 degrees. And right now the temperature is at 70. The sensor is going to recognize that, send that data to the controller and say, hey, it's 70. We need to input. We need to change the input. We need more heat. So then the controller flips the switch automatically and it pumps the heat up. And then all of a sudden it's going to hit 75, hit 76. Then the sensor says, oh, it's hotter than 75, sends the signal to the controller, and the controller shuts off the heat, changes the input,
yeah,
and then boom, and then we stay right about 75 degrees. So that's an intelligent system. And what we need to understand, what I want people to understand is like we need to start being intelligent systems. We need to use our sensors to sense how our output is, which is our quality of life, right? And we all want to be healthy. We want to have vibrant energy. We want to wake up. We want to feel good. We want to have good mental clarity. We don't want to have aches and pains. Nobody
yeah,
likes this. Nobody wants this. But most people are experiencing this today because they're disconnected. They're not paying attention to their system. So when you're overweight, like I was, when you have skin issues like I was, or you had cancer like my buddy Charles, or you have fibromyalgia or Hashimoto's or Graves' disease or thrush, a yeast infection, you have headaches, all these things. These are all check body lights.
yeah,
And your sensor's picking them up because you're in pain. You just don't feel good. But your controller's not doing anything with it. You just keep going through life.
yeah.
And then maybe, because of society, they've trained you to go down to your doctor
Correct.
and they hand you a pill as the
Yeah,
solution.
yeah,
You're not really changing your inputs. You're just adding something. Well, you I guess you are. You adding something to the inputs, but you're not really getting to the root of the inputs that were causing the problem in the first place. Your environment, the way you think, the air you're breathing. We take 20,000 breaths a day. That's a major input. What's the quality of your air?
yeah,
What's the quality of your water? Your body's mostly made of water. That's a major input. What's the quality of your water? Your food, another major input. And another major input is sleep. What's the quality of your sleep? What's the quality of your food? So we have to look at these inputs. And as we change these inputs, we change the output. And we can, as an intelligent person, or use it as a controller, intelligent system, our sensor keeps sensing and sensing. Oh, this is working. I'm going to keep doing this. Oh, that didn't work. I'm not going to do that. And you just keep changing until you change your environment enough, like harmful if swallowed toothpaste. We talked about this before. Please
yeah,
contact the Poison Control Center.
yeah,
That might be, as an intelligent system, you might want to change the input and put a healthy, non-toxic toothpaste into your mouth. Change the inputs. These things they don't sound like a lot, but these are monumental shifts. If somebody goes from a toothpaste that's poisoning them slowly with fluoride and toxins, and they switch over to one that's not, that is you've changed the environment. You're changing the inputs. You are being an intelligent system, right? So
yeah,
this is very important. Now let's take it to the bigger level. There is a major disconnect in the human mind today of modern people. People think that, oh, we live in nature. I live with nature. That is going to really destroy your quality of life with that type of thinking and mentality. You don't live in nature. You don't live with nature. You are freaking nature. Okay. Your body is nature. You are an expression of nature.
Yeah,
And nature is a system, right?
yeah,
It's a
totally.
system,
Yeah,
right? You have the environment is a system. So they call it the ecosystem, actually, right? You are part of that ecosystem. You are the ecosystem. You're part of it. Just like an ant, the ant colonies, they're a system and bees are a system.
correct.
If
Yeah,
an ant leaves that system, the ant dies. It cannot live by itself. The ant colony itself is an organism, right? It's just think of it, it just doesn't have the storage component like we have with our body. We have ants basically going up and down our cardiovascular system. Those are our blood cells. They're doing things, they're taking food there, they're cleaning stuff up, they're going. But the ants are an organism. They're just externally, they're not housed inside of a shell that walks around like we do with our skin. They are an organism. You take the ant out. Now, we are just like the ants in nature. And what's happening is we're getting removed from nature, the natural system, the ecosystem, and then our health falls apart. Just like if you pulled an ant out of the system, his health's gonna fall apart and he's eventually gonna die. So the moral of the story here is we just have to get back into our system, which is nature. That's it. This really isn't that hard. Cleaning up, you know, cleaning up the toxic chemicals that are bioaccumulating in our fat and our muscle tissue and our cells and our brain tissue that you can't see. These are these microscopic noceums
yeah,
that are,
they are everywhere.
they're everywhere. And people like maybe this isn't hitting home. Just go after this show and type in 3 words: umbilical cord chemical. I said this last
Oh,
time.
this
Umbilical
is
cord.
disgusting. Yeah,
Look at the studies that'll
yeah,
show that every single child being born today has 180 chemicals in them causing cancer, 212 that cause developmental brain disorders. So we're born polluted. So we are all polluted. And the older you are, the more time you've had to bioaccumulate these toxins in our blood, fat, and muscle tissue. So, okay, number one, awareness. There it is. What are you going to do now to get it out? Okay, and stop putting it in.
yeah,
That's where you sense these things. You have the awareness. Now your controller as a system is going to make changes to the input. I'm gonna get healthier foods. I'm gonna clean up my water. I'm gonna purify my air, and just pop, 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 pop. And you go through and you improve that system, and you plug your butt back into nature. 85% of the soil is degraded. So you're walking around on 15% fuel. Even if you're eating organic, you're still at 15% octane. That's what the average person is doing.
yeah,
That's why we help people replace the 85% of nutrition. Can you imagine how good you're going to feel? So number one, get the toxins out. Number two, replace what's missing from the soil, the nutrients, including the bacteria, which is very important. It's part of that gut microbiome. And then number three, reducing stress, EMF stress, uh, Wi-Fi, 5G, relationship stress, work stress, financial stress. Having the tools and strategies to reduce those stresses is very important today. Stress is a killer. It's blowing out your adrenal glands. It's increased cortisol levels, screwing up your sleep, all these things. So it's really simple. It's really simple. It's like get rid of stress, get the toxins out, stop putting them in, and plug your butt back into nature. And that's what I've done for 11 years. And the more I do that, the healthier I get. I'll be 49 in June. I feel like I'm 18. I have abundant energy. I can't wait. I'm going trail running. I go trail run twice a week. I'm going to go run my butt off. I'm just going to attack that mountain. And, 11 years ago, I couldn't even run once around a flat track without huffing and puffing because I had all the extra weight and I was just rotting from the inside out. And I didn't know this stuff. I went to the Hippocrates Health Institute and I got educated. I got the awareness, and then my intelligent system kicked in, my controller, and I started changing my inputs. So when we're talking about the body as a system, that's what I'm talking about. I wanted to take it to a deeper level though, that our body is part of a bigger system. That's the ecosystem on this planet.
correct. Yeah.
So anyway, that's I think a very important connection that needs to be made so you understand that you are nature.
Very good point, Jay. And you talk about stress. To me, I would say stress is one of the major, if not the major factors behind chronic diseases, right? Besides pollution, toxins, and food. And it reminds me of the blue zones, right? When you look at the blue zones, these are 5 areas, right, on the planet that live the healthiest, the longest. And diet was not necessarily the major factor, right? So happiness seems to be the factor behind the health. So can you expand on that?
Well, it's really important. Like you got to ask yourself or look yourself in the mirror and say, what tools do I have to reduce stress?
Yeah,
Now, the first thing actually before that you might have to realize is like, here's another question. Do I have stress?
yeah.
And be honest with yourself because a lot of people, especially guys, ego gets in the way and they're like, oh, I'm fine. I don't stress. I'm cool.
Yes, that's true.
Meditation, woo woo, like breath work. There's, I know. Okay. I was one of those people. But guess what? You have a biological system. Your body is a biological system. You have a nervous system. And even
Yeah,
if you don't think you're stressed out, you are. I mean, if you actually really think about this, if you took somebody from 1500 years ago, like imagine that somebody 1500, 2500 years ago, and then you instantly time warp them into the car with you and you're driving 75 miles an hour down an interstate. What do you think might happen to that person? They are going to freak out and they might have a heart attack and die. Like, because just driving in a car is a bizarre thing for a human being. Like, if we're in nature, do you see any other animals in nature driving cars around at the only cheetah runs pretty fast, but they're used to that. But a tortoise doesn't go that fast. So anyway, their stress is on us that we can't even comprehend because for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, we just walked around. That's
yeah,
it, and then we
yeah,
started riding a few horses and stuff like that, but other than that, I mean, that's stressful. I mean, I fell off a horse, but we're not supposed to do certain things that we're doing today. We have a very stressful life. So, after you've recognized that you do have stress,
yeah,
the second thing is like, what tools, tactics, strategies, there supplements, what do you have to to mitigate that?
yeah,
What are you doing? Are you doing breath work? Do you do exercise? Do you get outside and walk in nature? Do you meditate? Are you taking infrared saunas and putting yourself right back into parasympathetic mode? Right? What are you doing? What is your checklist? What are your go tos? If you don't have any strategies, oh, okay. Well, guess what? Get excited because your life's going to get a lot better because you're going to learn how to reduce stress if you want to. But you can have that awareness first. And then we just give people strategies and stuff that we do over here to reduce stress. And it's pretty simple. And then all of a sudden you start feeling better. I mean, it just everything works better. Because if
yes,
you're actually clenched up and tight and stressed out, you can't heal. You
yeah.
just can't do it. So, and I've seen this happen where there's people. I'll give you an example. It's like this woman. Her husband was a police officer. I didn't know it at the time, but they were not getting along like at all, screaming and yelling at each other. They also had two children. One was adopted, and one of the adopted
Wow.
children was special needs. Like, so there was a lot of stress there too. And this gal like did everything right. She cleaned up her diet. We helped her clean up her gut. She was changing her inputs and all this stuff. And she was getting results, but she just couldn't quite heal. And I realized like these people that have these gut issues, especially that they can't quite heal every single time there was like super amounts of stress in their life. And they hadn't addressed that. And then that's when I realized like, wow, not only do I thought it was just like, oh, we'll just change, we'll get them all healthy, eating healthy, clean them up, do the detox, all that stuff, and boom, they're gonna be fine. But no, there's emotional and spiritual component too. So our coaching program has really evolved over the last 7 years. And our coaches now, like, the health stuff, like what to eat and that kind of stuff, that's like falling off a log easy for us. Like the supplements, how to take, read labels,
Yeah,
make food, we're chefs, exercise, that's all easy. The emotional and spiritual stuff is really what we like to focus on now. But, usually when people come in, they're not really expecting that, but that's kind of where it will go eventually with the coach when they're ready. Some people aren't ready up front. We got to give them some little, wins. They start losing weight, they get their energy back up, then they listen more to us and we just take them down that road and we become friends and tight with them. And then they realize, yeah, it's like I am stressed out. My relationship's not working. I don't like my
yes,
career. I have a like this one guy, he was like this tough dude, and all of a sudden he was crying on the phone because of the interaction that he had with his little daughter and the stuff I was sharing with him about how to relate to children and stuff like that. And he felt like such a failure. And he just started crying. And it was good because he was an emotional detox and he was able to release that out. And then one of the best calls I got was from him when he said, hey, he goes, hey, my daughter did something. I can't remember what it was, but normally he would have been like super mad and screaming at her. And she's like 9. Here he is, like a 43-year-old grown man that's like doing jujitsu and like he's a pretty intimidating dude for anybody. let alone a 9-year-old. And so instead of yelling at her in front of the table and everybody else and embarrassing her, he took my advice, and after dinner was over, he took her to her room and he had a conversation with her calmly. And he by doing this, by him changing his inputs into his daughter, the output changed. He was able to build that relationship back, and then she wasn't so scared of him. She started the bond became better and instantly, and then she started coming to him, and then she actually started participating more in the stuff that, that he wanted her to do, but that actually she wanted to do it now, which was really good. It wasn't that she didn't want to, but it's just his approach was all wrong. So he learned to soften and open his heart up a little bit, which is really important, especially for
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, exactly. Man, this is a lot of good stuff here. So it can be really overwhelming for a lot of people, right? When you talk about health and changing all inputs and help the body. So what would be one simple things to do if you've never done anything yet about your health that you could actually do as a first thing?
Well, I think the first thing is just, having some awareness that you need to possibly that you want to make some changes and that you want to do it. Getting really clear on why do I want to change? Like, 'cause if you're just
Yes.
like, oh, I want to lose 30 pounds, it's my New Year's resolution. And you've had that resolution every year for 5, 10, 15 years, then you haven't really made a decision. It's just like a hope or a wish, but you're not putting any effort behind it. It's really not important to you.
Yeah.
And when people do that, it's like they're basically saying, my health is not a priority. That's what you're speaking loud and clear. My health is not a priority. And then
Yeah.
guess what? Your children are picking up on that too. Oh, health's not a priority. I'll just eat goldfish and chicken nuggets and, and this kind of crap all the time. And if I don't get what I want, I'll cry and scream, and then mom and dad will just give it to me and I'll get what I want. Right. So
Yeah.
we have to set the example.
We do. So, how can people reach out to you if they have any questions about your program, or your products, your supplements, and so on?
Sure. So the easiest way, guys, just go to chemicalfreebody.com. We do have products. I highly recommend them. Our formulator, Dr. Scott Treadway, he's in his 70s. His skin looks amazing. So he's 35. They've worked well for me. I've been on my own products. I built them for me. So go to the products tab, scroll down to savings bundles, and that way you guys can get a discount. And you can do like a jumpstart bundle if you want to stick your toes in the water. If you want to go all in and do what I do the total energy and detox bundle. And I also take our turmeric 100 liquid formula, which is a breakthrough and anti-inflammatory. No black pepper needed, Serge. Zero. We do not
Wow.
go through the digestive tract. It goes right through the mucous membrane in the mouth. It's actually over 185 times more anti-inflammatory.
Wow.
I just had a clinic a few weeks ago call me from Texas. One of the nurses there, nurse practitioners, heard me on a podcast. She used inflammatory in the whole clinic, which is really cool. And this will keep coming out more and more as people get onto this. We have a proprietary process, and we have a whole line of these tinctures coming out. We have a what product called V Stack coming out that's got vitamin C, vitamin D3, quercetin, zinc, fulvic and humic acid, and vitamin A all in one. It's literally 6 products in one to boost the immune system, and
Yeah.
it's all naturally occurring. We have a multi shroom coming out with chaga, reishi, shiitake, maitake, lion's mane, that kind of stuff. But again, it's this proprietary absorption process. So it's going through the mucous membrane and right into the cell. And so many people today have so many absorption issues because the digestive tract is jacked up. They're not really getting a lot of nutrients through the intestinal lining into the bloodstream. But then once it gets into the bloodstream, major issues because they're not drinking enough water. So the cells are dehydrated. The fat membrane around there is not really good because all the fats they're eating are cooked. And then the cellular inflammation. Right. So these proprietary processes and these formulas are able to bypass all of that and go right into the cell. It's so small that it actually can everything goes through the blood-brain barrier as well. So it's a proprietary breakthrough. We're really excited about. We invested a lot of money into this machine that we bought that takes raw materials and makes them really tiny. But anyway, so that's where to do it. And then when you go to checkout, use the code SURGE and get an additional 5% off. So you guys can get a double discount. We have a double your money back guarantee on all of our products. If something doesn't work, call us. You get on the phone with me or another coach. We'll find another replacement for you, even if it's at another company. We're really just wanting people to wake up and feel good. And our products, they're awesome. I mean, they freaking are. Okay. But they're only part of the toolkit.
Yeah.
There are other things. This is just a
Yeah.
small part of the whole toolkit in your life to help you change that lifestyle, to change those inputs so that you can change that output, which is your quality of life. We just want you to wake up and feel good.
Awesome. Thank you again for your time. That was a really good conversation and good information.
Appreciate
So
it, brother.
awesome.
Thanks for having me on. And I appreciate the guests for showing up for themselves. And I hope that they got something out of this today they can go home and take action on and improve their health.
That's the key, and that's why we do that. Awesome. Take care. We'll talk to you
Thanks.
later.
Thanks, brother.